The sun hung low over Dasmariñas, a city with a hum of urban growth tangled with the quiet rhythm of rural life. Just south of Manila, this place was a patchwork of close-knit neighborhoods, where kids chased each other down narrow streets, and the scent of adobo simmered through open windows. It was a community in flux. Traditional markets jostled against shiny new malls, and rice fields gave way to housing developments. But beneath the warm veneer of family values, Dasmariñas harbored secrets, some buried deeper than others. In one modest home, a tragedy unfolded that would shock the nation, a story of betrayal, rage, and a mother's love torn apart in the most unthinkable way. Evelyn Seals was 54, a widow who'd poured her life into raising her two children, Joanna and John, after her husband's death left her alone. She was a kind of woman neighbors admired, resilient, strict, but fiercely devoted. She worked tirelessly to keep food on the table, send her kids to good schools, and maintain a stable home in a world that hadn't been kind to her. She'd inherited a house in Singapore from her late husband, a quiet refuge she rarely visited, but often dreamed of escaping to when the weight of single motherhood grew heavy. Friends called her a rock, but even rocks crack under pressure. Joanna, her daughter, was a storm in human form. At 16, she was already spiraling, partying hard, drinking harder, and sleeping around. When she got pregnant by her boyfriend, Ronald Ruby, Evelyn's world tilted. To her, a traditionalist at heart, Joanna's choices were a slap in the face. A baby out of wedlock? No marriage? It was a betrayal of everything Evelyn had fought for. Still, she swallowed her anger and stepped up, caring for her granddaughter, buying formula, paying bills, and keeping the household afloat while Joanna partied through her youth. But the tension between mother and daughter simmered, a pot ready to boil over. August 20th, 2016, started like any other day. Evelyn went to work. Her friends texted about coffee, and life seemed to hum along. Then came the news, delivered by Joanna. Evelyn had left for Singapore to relax and clear her head. It wasn't entirely unbelievable. Evelyn owned that house in Singapore, and the strain of raising her granddaughter while clashing with Joanna was no secret. Friends nodded, assuming she needed a break. But as days turned to weeks, something felt wrong. Evelyn was active on Facebook, posting short updates, but they were stiff, impersonal, no emojis, no warmth. She didn't answer calls, ignored video chats, and dodged meetups with friends in Singapore, claiming she was busy or sick. For a woman who'd always shared snippets of her life, this silence was deafening. John, Evelyn's son, felt the unease deepest. He'd moved away for work, but the gnawing sense that something was off never left him. By 2018, he couldn't take it anymore. He filed a missing persons report, but the police brushed him off. Evelyn's Facebook was active, her passport and clothes were gone. Maybe she just wanted space. Adults could disappear, they said. John knew better. His mother would never abandon her family, especially not her granddaughter. For 2 more years, he lived with that gnawing dread. A son haunted by a ghost who might not be a ghost at all. July 2020 brought the rainy season and a chance to fix the family home, now crumbling from neglect. Joanna and her daughter still lived there, and John decided to renovate, starting with the kitchen. He hired a crew, hoping a fresh space might bring some light back to the house. But as they broke ground, a foul smell seeped up, faint at first like rotting food or a clogged sewer. The crew assumed it was a septic tank underfloor and kept digging. Then they found it, Evelyn's passport and ID, buried beneath a layer of concrete. John's heart stopped. If her passport was here, how had she gone to Singapore? He raced to the police, demanding answers. The next morning, investigators descended on the house. The smell had worsened, thick and suffocating, a stench that clung to the back of your throat. They tore through the floor, cracking concrete and exposing the septic tank below. Inside, curled in a fetal position, was a decomposed body, unrecognizable but undeniably human. John's worst fears crystallized. DNA tests confirmed it. Evelyn Seals, his mother, had been lying beneath their feet for nearly 4 years. The autopsy painted a brutal picture. Evelyn's skull was shattered, likely by a hammer. She'd been stabbed twice in the neck, 5 times in the chest, and a deep gash sliced her right arm. This wasn't a clean kill. It was rage, raw and unrestrained, a crime of passion that screamed personal vendetta. Suspicion zeroed in on Joanna and Ronald, the only ones living in the house. How could they not know? How could a daughter live above her mother's corpse, raising her own child in the same space? The police leaned hard on Joanna. At first, she denied everything, her voice trembling with rehearsed innocence. But the weight of the evidence crushed her. Sobbing, she confessed, unraveling a story that chilled everyone in the room. The years of arguments with Evelyn had festered into something darker. Joanna resented her mother's traditionalism, her constant disapproval, her endless sacrifices that felt like chains. Ronald, ever the enabler, fed her anger. On August 20th, 2016, they lured Evelyn to the basement with a promise of a surprise. Ronald waited in the shadows, hammer in hand. He struck her from behind, fracturing her skull. She collapsed, still alive, gasping. Ronald handed Joanna a knife and told her to finish it. Without hesitation, she stabbed her mother, neck, chest, arm, until the life drained out of her. They dragged Evelyn's body to the kitchen, opened the septic tank, and dumped her inside like garbage. Ronald bought cement, gravel, and sand, sealing the tank shut, but they made a fatal mistake. No gas release vent. Over the years, the gases from Evelyn's decomposing body built up, cracking the floor again and again. Each time, Ronald patched it, oblivious that the cracks were Evelyn's way of screaming from the grave. Neighbors had noticed him mixing cement, even complained about the stench, but no one connected the dots. Meanwhile, Joanna played the grieving daughter online, posting fake updates from Evelyn's Facebook, writing birthday messages to herself, all while her mother rotted below. The confession rocked Dasmariñas. A daughter murdering her mother was horrific enough, but the cover-up, living above the body, raising a child in that house, pushed into the realm of the unthinkable. Joanna and Ronald were charged with murder, their faces plastered across national news. The case sparked outrage, not just for its brutality, but for the questions it raised. How could a community so tight-knit miss this? Were Evelyn's traditional values a provocation, or was Joanna's rebellion a symptom of a deeper rot? Some whispered that Evelyn's strictness had driven Joanna to the edge, while others saw Joanna as a monster, ungrateful for a mother's love. The debate tore through Dasmariñas, dividing neighbors who once shared meals. John was left shattered, grappling with guilt for not acting sooner. The house, once a symbol of stability, became a tomb. Joanna's daughter, now without a mother, father, or grandmother, faced a future shadowed by their sins. The trial details remain murky, a frustrating silence from the Philippine justice system. Are Joanna and Ronald still in prison? Have they faced a jury? The public doesn't know, and that secrecy only fuels a controversy. Some say the system is protecting them, others as too ashamed to air such a grotesque case. Across the South China Sea, another tragedy unfolded in Phuket, Thailand, a paradise of turquoise waters and golden beaches. In July 2021, Nicole Silvaisov, a 57-year-old Swiss woman, arrived as part of the Phuket Sandbox program, a desperate bid to revive tourism gutted by the pandemic. Nicole, a deputy protocol chief at Switzerland's Federal Assembly, was used in navigating high-stakes environments. But nothing prepared her for what awaited. On July 3rd, she was captured on surveillance walking alone near Ao Yan Beach, heading toward a waterfall. She seemed relaxed, soaking in the island's beauty. Then she vanished. Her family, half a world away in Germany, knew something was wrong when she missed a scheduled call. Her hotel room held her suitcase and clothes, but her phone, wallet, and keys were gone. The Thai police, under pressure from her high-profile status, moved fast. Surveillance footage showed a man on a moped near the waterfall around the time Nicole disappeared. His name was Tai Wat Dotip, a 28-year-old local known as Bangri, unemployed and desperate after the pandemic killed his kickboxing gigs. 5 days later, a resident found a body in the forest, partially naked, half covered by a black plastic sheet. A trainer hung in a nearby tree, matching Nicole's. The autopsy confirmed drowning, with signs of a struggle, bruises, cuts, a fight for life. The community reeled. Murder was rare in Phuket, especially against tourists, and the tourism industry shuddered at the headlines. The Prime Minister demanded swift action, and police zeroed in on Bangri. His moped's license plate led them to his door, where fresh cuts and bruises raised red flags. Under questioning, he crumbled. Bangri confessed to spotting Nicole bathing in a stream. Driven by impulse, he attacked, choking her from behind. She fought back, scratching and clawing, but he overpowered her, holding her head underwater for 3 agonizing minutes. Afterward, he stripped her, stole 300 baht, about $9, and fled, spending the money on orange juice and drugs. His confession was a gut punch, but his later claim that he only meant to rob her rang hollow. Why strip her? Why the plastic sheet? The court didn't buy it, sentencing him to death, later commuted to life in prison. The case ignited a firestorm. Thailand's tourism industry, already battered, faced scrutiny over safety. The Sandbox program, meant to lure visitors, now seemed reckless. Locals demanded more cameras, more security, while some called for closing isolated sites like the waterfall. Nicole's family received a paltry 1 million baht, $30,000, in compensation, an insult that fueled accusations of corruption. Why such a low payout for a high-profile foreigner? Was the government shielding its image? The vigil for Nicole, candles, floral wreaths, a framed photo on the beach, felt like a hollow gesture to many. These stories, one in Das Marinas, one in Phuket, share a grim thread: betrayal in places meant to be safe. Evelyn trusted her daughter. Nicole trusted the paradise she'd come to explore. Both were undone by those who saw opportunity in their vulnerability. Joanna's resentment and Bangri's desperation turned homes and havens into graves. The controversies linger. Justice delayed in the Philippines, corruption tainting Thailand's response. Evil doesn't always lurk in dark alleys. Sometimes it shares your table, walks your streets, and smiles at the neighbors. For John, for Nicole's family, for the communities left reeling, there are no winners, only the weight of loss and the hope that these tragedies might force change.